Okay there, guys. Well, we should be up and running now. Yes, I think we are. How you doing, guys? John here. Thanks for being here for our weekly team supporter get together and meeting. Do me a favor, just let me know everything's going fine. That you guys can see everything okay, and that you can hear everything okay. Because I'm not on your end, so I never know 100% for sure. So do me a favor and fire in a comment there. Just let me know if you can see and hear everything okay. And then we will get started. And by the way, sound off in the chat board. Let me know that you guys are here because I don't have a list of everybody who's here. I see Jojo is here. I see Ben Rayner is here. It says we got a few people in here. So yeah, this is our weekly get together. We can get together, talk on here about all the stuff that we want to talk about. We can talk about just about everything's going on. Spencer's just letting me know, yep, everything is working good. So I guess the video and the sound is all working. Okay, great. And again, just make sure you guys, when you come into the chat board, make sure you sound off. Let us all know that you're here and that you're joining us right now. So Greg is saying good morning or good afternoon to whoever everybody is. How you doing, everybody? Good to have you here. And you know, again, I know I said this last week, but I will say it again now. This is really important to me. Like, you guys who are team supporters, you guys are the big supporters of my Patreon and therefore of all the stuff that I do for the YouTube channel. So it's really awesome for me to be able to have an opportunity like once a week to get together with those of you guys who are supporters to talk to you about what we're doing on the channel. Also to hear your thoughts about the channel, and also to just talk about anything that you guys want to talk about. This whole forum, this whole video thing is for you guys, so I want to hear from you. And we can talk about anything you want to talk about. Like, if you want to talk about basic just movie stuff, we can talk about movie stuff. You want to talk about it, you want to talk about, you know, American Made, you want to talk about the movies coming out, sure, we can do that. Or if you want to talk about other things, you want to talk about some behind the scenes stuff, you want to talk about the channel and some ideas for the channel, you want to talk about how we can build our community, you want to talk about equipment or gear, you want to talk about, you know, AMC stuff, you want to talk about Collider stuff, you want to talk about anything. Whatever you guys want to talk about, I am here to talk about it. So special hello to Spencer's here, Styler Manu 1 is here, already mentioned JoJo's here, Greg's here, KW Garrett's here, Ben here, Brian Misfud's here, and good to have all you guys here. So, talk a little bit about, you guys can start putting in questions, by the way, about anything you want to talk about. Again, like I said, technical, behind the scenes, old war stories, the movies, TV, whatever you want to talk about, you can start putting those in. I'll start off, though, by talking a little bit about where we're at. So, here's where we're at. Last week we started the Star Wars Talk Tuesdays, which I loved. I had a great time doing that, and we're going to do it again today. As soon as I'm done our chat here today, I'm going to start working on today's Star Wars Talk Tuesday. So Star Wars Talk Tuesdays can come a little bit later today. And then once I'm done that, I'm going to start working on tomorrow's version of the John Campea podcast. By the way, let me see if I can pull it up here because I think I threw it out. But let me see if I can pull it out. I started trying a new kind of sidebar. Here it is. Let me pull it up here so you guys can see it to know what I'm talking about. So I created a new thumbnail for a new style of thumbnail for the podcast. So you can see it here. I've got that one picture of me. That will be consistent because I had some people mentioning to me that the podcast thumbnail was always different. So what I thought was, we're trying this new thumbnail where it's me, and that will always be the same picture. Okay, so that's me. And then beside me, two of the topics. Instead of just having a picture for one of the topics coming up, I've got a picture of two of the topics coming up. So that's kind of good. I tried it yesterday, and I also tried it today, and the response seems to be pretty good. So I am curious, what do you guys think about this new podcast thing? So what do you think about the new, not podcasting, I should say, the new thumbnail for the podcast, this new format? Do you think this works? Does it help you as a viewer more easily identify, oh, this, just by seeing the thumbnail, I know this is the podcast? as opposed to one of the news videos? Let me know your thoughts and let me know what you guys are thinking of. Okay, so let's see here. Jojo is asking me, wondering if I know who the new head of programming is at Collider. I don't think they put in a new head of programming. I could be wrong about that. But I think just the guy who was my boss there is now just doing that, is making those decisions. So I think after I left, the responsibilities, instead of falling to somebody else, went up to the guy who was my boss there. So I think they're just, I believe people from corporate are now making the decisions. I believe people from Complex are now making those decisions. So that's, again, that's to the best of my knowledge. Exile 660 says, "Hey John, what are your thoughts on the Train Spotting movies? I'm from Glasgow, and we aren't exactly known for having many famous films. Train Spotting is basically the Scottish Star Wars to us. I love the first Train Spotting. Love the first Train Spotting. I like the second Train Spotting very much. It wasn't on the same level to me as that first Train Spotting, but I enjoyed it very much. I thought it was really good. I was surprised it didn't get a bigger reception than it did. I honestly thought it would do much, much better, but I guess I overestimated how many people had actually seen the original Train Spotting. Let's see. Brian Misfid is saying, I would like to hear what, in your opinion, is working for the channel, what needs improvement, and what is not working so good. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking is working so far. I think the podcast is working. That's just the Great Daily thing. I enjoy doing that. News videos are sort of working, and it all depends on what the news is. So, like, I've put up some news videos that I thought would get 25,000 views, and they got 5,000 views. So it depends on what the news is. So news videos are doing okay, some are not doing so okay. One of the things that I'm not satisfied with is how much engagement, particularly I'm getting with my Patreon supporters. I'm trying to figure out new ways that I can make sure I can engage more. I thought maybe it would be the Facebook group, and maybe it is the Facebook group, and maybe I just need to get on the Facebook page I'm on our Facebook group every day, but maybe I need to get on there every day and do a text-based Ask Me Anything every single day, because I really want to feel like I'm really connected to our Patreon supporters, to you guys. I want to feel like our community is really well connected. And I feel like so far I haven't done a great job of that. And obviously we're doing the videos and stuff like that, but I feel like I want to do more because I want to just feel more connected on that level. Because as Patreon supporters, I want you guys to feel like you are part of this. Like the entire YouTube channel and the shows that I'm doing, I want you to feel that you are a part of it and that you have some influence over what we're doing here. Because I mean, you guys are financially making it possible for me to do it, which is great. So I really want to make sure I feel more connected. I want you guys to feel more involved in what we're doing. So those are some of the things like I want to work on more. Let's see. Noah Outlaw is writing, booking my Airbnb in LA for December, heading out there to see The Last Jedi with the Making Star Wars crew. That's awesome. Congratulations. And again, I believe Noah is one of our Patreon supporters who lives in Houston. So obviously you're still safe. You're still connected to the internet. That's good. Thoughts and prayers to everybody in Texas dealing with the weather there right now. Let's see. Greg Scott Bailey is saying, liking the new thumbnail helps me remind me I need to work on some more myself. Noah's saying he thinks the thumbnail looks good. Lord of Darkness saying it works for him. The thoughtful author blah, 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 is writing, it looks good, a bit more eye-grabbing than the old one-topic one. Good. I'm glad to hear this stuff. Brian Mifsud is saying, I like the idea, John, makes sense and gives a heads up. Me, as a supporter, I check out the show anyway. You need something that is catchy for new viewers. Good point. Jojo Ashton is writing, personally, I think that it adds the visual variety and lets me know what's going on, which is great. Good. Lord Darkness is saying, anything new that you are looking forward to on television-wise now that Game of Thrones is over? Well, I mean, Game of Thrones isn't over. We still got another season to go, but this season is done. Well, I'm looking forward to the CW shows come back. Everybody knows I'm a huge fan of Supernatural. Really looking forward to Flash coming back. Looking forward to, even though I don't love the show, I do look forward to watching it every week, is Legends of Tomorrow. So that's coming. I think the one I'm most excited about coming back, though, is Lucifer. I still can't believe that more people don't watch Lucifer, which is funny that Lord of Darkness is asking me about that. For those of you who aren't watching Lucifer, watch Lucifer. Go back. They're only 2 seasons in now, so they're about to start season 3. Go back, start binge watching from season 1. It's a great show. The lead character, Lucifer, is my favorite single character on television right now. So go back, binge watch up, get through season 1, get through season 2, and start watching Lucifer. It's my favorite show on television at the moment. So yeah, anyway, there you go for that. Stylerman Who Won is saying, hi, I'm intrigued by the recent decision by Ed Skrein to step down from Hellboy. Do you think we're ever going to reach a point where this issue will not arise? Well, no, we'll never get to a point where this issue won't arise. It'll always be an issue. I think, look, I do believe, I applaud Ed Skrein for what he did. I do. I think it's great. I mean, and I made a video about this. I talked about it on today's podcast. I made a video about it yesterday. At the same time, I do support the idea that movie producers need to be allowed to make decisions for their movies that they think will benefit and help their movies. So, for instance, if they think, okay, let's look back at Ridley Scott's Exodus, Gods and Kings, right? Where they use Christian Bale as Moses. Okay. But in their defense, Ridley Scott made a statement, and everybody gave him shit for this, but he was telling the truth. He said, if I went out and got like a no-name actor, but of the right ethnic descent, no one would have come to see my movie. And the thing is, he's not wrong. So I think there needs to be found a balance between taking advantage of opportunities to give underrepresented people groups the opportunity to have roles in films. Like, look, nobody gives Asian actors roles. They just don't. They're so few and far between. So in this case, where you have a movie like Hellboy coming out, and you have an Asian character in the comic books, why not take advantage of that? Nobody's giving roles to Asian actors. Why not take advantage of the fact that we've got an Asian character? Let's give it to an Asian actor. So on the one hand, I totally am behind that. I'm totally in favor of that. At the same time, I think that we do always have to maintain protection for film studios and film producers to be allowed to make whatever decisions they want for their movie. It's their movie. And if they're making a movie based on a piece of pre-existing material, and in that pre-existing material, the lead character is Jamaican, but they feel that their movie will do a lot better and make a lot more money if they have Tom Cruise in the lead role. It's their movie. It's their money. And they should be allowed to do that. So I think there has to be a balance. And right now, there is no balance. Right now, it's just we aren't giving enough acting opportunities to actors who aren't white males. We need to find ways to increase that, to better represent our actual society. But at the same time, movie producers, I think, need to have the right, at the same time, not instead of, but at the same time, need to have the right to, make decisions based on financial realities. So I believe there has to be a balancing act, and it can't be all one way or the other. So it's going to be, we're a long way away from this ever not being an issue. I think it's going to be an issue for a while. All right. Shibaji writes, will you do your Arrow review show with Anne? I think I will review Arrow, but I don't know that Anne will do it with me. Anne would like to do it, but I think she gave up on Arrow. And her new job is a lot busier now these days because she's been promoted a number of times. So I don't know that she'll have time to do it with me. So I will probably do an Arrow recap show, but I'm going to warn you, I'm going to be honest about each and every episode. Here's the thing. I know a lot of people like to watch after shows, but they only want to watch it if it's, yay, this show's the best. Everything it does is awesome. This show is perfect. And they don't want to hear anybody say anything negative. I'm going to do an Arrow recap show. I'm going to do an Arrow review every episode. but I'm going to be honest. And if something's shitty, I'm going to say this episode was shit, and here's why. And not everybody wants to hear that. A lot of time with these after shows, people only want to hear cheerleaders. They don't want to hear honest discussion. They don't want to hear honest opinions. They just want cheerleaders. They just want to see cheerleaders. Tell me this week why Arrow is the best thing ever. And I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that for Flash. I'm not going to do that for Supernatural. I'm not going to do that for Lucifer. I'm not going to do that for anything. When something's bad in a show, I'm going to talk about how it's bad. So yeah, it's not just going to be a cheerleading session. My TV review shows. Let's see here. Brian is asking, for YouTube monetization, what matters the most? Views, minutes watched, likes, comments. How can we help increase the channel income overall? Okay, so the income is based on views, all right? But that's not to say that likes and comments don't matter, because likes and comments help generate views, because the more likes and comments there are on a video, the higher up the video starts to rank. The more minutes watched on a video, the higher up it starts to rank on YouTube. The higher it ranks on YouTube, the more views it gets. So it's all connected in this one big Mufasa circle of life. Ultimately, it's about views that helps monetization. But what helps views? Likes, comments, length of time watching, engagement. All those things help position the video to get more views. So all that stuff is important, and all that stuff plays a part. Great question. Let's see. Greg Scott Bailey is mentioning what a lot of us are thinking of. I'm sure. Glad to hear you're safe, Noah. Thoughts to everybody out there. Ben is also saying that the thumbnail works for him. Let's see. Sorry, my thing's jumping all over the place. Ashley Bauer said, I'm very curious about the Scooby-Doo Supernatural crossover they announced. I don't think that's real. Let me just look up something here. I heard something about that. I don't know that it's real. Well, no, TV Line wrote about it. I thought it was just some kind of thing. Supernatural meets Scooby-Doo. Jinkies, it's happening. Season 13... There will be an animated series episode with... How ridiculous. This is one of the things I love about Supernatural, man. They'll try the absolute ridiculous. So yeah, apparently it looks like there is going to be a Supernatural animated episode with Scooby-Doo. Okay, I've seen everything now. Let's see. Where to go? Exile is asking, is Anne gone for the full 2 months, or are either of you going to get to visit each other? So some of you may not know, Anne is, my wife Anne, is leaving on Saturday for 2 months. She's going to Hong Kong for work. Hasbro has a big part of their operation out in Hong Kong. And Anne, because she is who she is in the company, she needs to go out there and do some things in Hong Kong for 2 months. And she's going to be gone for 2 months. I don't know how I'm going to survive it. No, I'm not going over to visit. It's just too expensive. I mean, to fly to Hong Kong, it's very time consuming because it's like a day of travel each way, and it's very expensive. So we're just going to Skype every day, and we'll make do. So, and she won't have time to come back here either. She's going to be out there. And if Anne does have any free time, she's going to try to travel a little bit. I think she wants to visit the various Disneylands that are out there. I think she's going to try to hop on a quick plane and take a quick trip to Japan while she's out there as well. So no, she'll be gone for 2 months. Won't have a chance. Ben Rayner is writing, do you like the daily shows on Collider? I mean, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. Look, I won't say this on one of the public shows. I won't say this on one of the main videos on the channel. I'll say this here, trusting that it stays between us. Okay. I'm not going to say this publicly. No, I think there are some things that they're doing is right. I do think doing TV Talk daily is the right decision. Doing Heroes daily is a terrible decision. I never would have let that happen because it's going to hurt the Heroes brand. Heroes was perfect as a weekly show with the odd special here and there. The idea of getting John Schnepp on camera more is never a bad idea. That part's a good idea, but I don't think the way to do it was to do a Heroes Daily show. And you're showing, it's showing like here's the thing. Heroes Weekly, at one point got like 80, 90, 100,000 views, right? When it's done a week. Now it's getting like 18 or 22,000 views a day. So you're roughly getting the same amount of views in 5 shows that you were getting in one show. Except that you're putting in 5 times the amount of effort, 5 times the amount of time, 5 times the amount of money that you spend on the freelancers that come in to do it. No, if I was there, I never would have let that happen. I would have found other ways to get John Schnepp more plugged in, definitely. And, Robert Meyer Burnett is awesome, and Amy's, all the people are awesome, but Heroes is not a show that should be done daily. I think it's hurt the show. I think it has hurt Movie Talk. We've seen Movie Talk drop from 100,000 views an episode down to 50 and 60,000 views an episode. So we're seeing that has been hurt. I think TV Talk, which is a show that should be daily. That was my idea. I believe TV Talk should be a daily show because there's so much TV. But I think the fact that now you've also got Heroes Daily. Now you got 3 daily shows. On top of all the other videos they're doing, I believe that has hurt TV Talk. Because people only have so much time they can sit down and watch YouTube. So, and if you're already asking them, watch 45 minutes of Movie Talk and watch 45 minutes to an hour of Heroes and watch TV Talk, I think that has hurt TV Talk. So, yeah, I mean, look, it's not my business anymore. I mean, I built that place, but it's not my place anymore. And so I don't write anybody emails. I don't tell anybody over there what I think, but I think they're making some poor decisions. I think you're seeing that happen. Like I said, the Movie Talk numbers have dropped drastically. Heroes numbers have dropped drastically. Again, this is just between us. This is what happens in team supporter video chat stays in team supporter video chat. So yeah, we'll just leave it at that. It is difficult for me because I care a lot about. Sorry, I'm just trying to search up something here. I care a lot about what goes on over there. I care a lot about the people that are there, and it's difficult for me to sit here and keep my mouth shut and not say anything when I see them making some really bad decisions and bad moves. But what can I do? It's not my place anymore to say anything, so I'm not going to say anything. All right. Let's see. Ben is also asking, am I excited for Tom Welling on Lucifer? I'm excited about anything with Lucifer. I'm very intrigued to see Tom Welling on there. I think Tom Welling's a better actor than he gets credit for. I think he doesn't get a lot of opportunities, so I'm really excited to see him pop up there. I think that's great. Mataweg 8995 saying, are you going to do a Punisher review in November? Absolutely, I'm going to do a Punisher review. I'm going to do one Punisher review. What I've been doing with the Netflix series is I just watch the whole series, then I do one review. I'm not going to do episode 1 review, episode 2 review, episode 3 review. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do one review. So I will do that, though, absolutely. Spencer Smothers is, what was your thoughts on the last season of Blacklist and the big reveal? Did you watch Blacklist Redemption? Yeah, I watched Blacklist Redemption. It wasn't very good. I watched all of it, and it got canceled, by the way. So it's not coming back. What was the big reveal? I can't remember now. I can't remember what the big reveal in the Blacklist was. I watched the whole season, but I can't remember what it was. Ian Schindler is asking, John, is it difficult for you to interact daily with hundreds of strangers you know nothing about, but from their point of view, know you quite well? It is odd. It is a little weird because, like, I have never met and may never meet most of you guys face to face, but you guys know me, and you guys could have potentially seen hundreds of hours of me on camera. You can know my movie taste, you know my TV taste, you know my food taste, you know some details about my marriage, you know all this stuff about me. And so it is kind of weird sometimes, like when I'm at conventions or something and I meet somebody, but realizing this person in front of me knows a hell of a lot about me, but I don't know anything about them. So sometimes that's odd, but it's cool. Okay, Brian Mifsud is writing, you mentioned communication with the community, and I believe it is essential and rewarding. Would love to hear ideas how the community can be more engaged and involved. Yeah, I am looking for ideas. I'm looking for people to write to me ideas. So please, on Patreon, use Patreon. I really want to ask you guys this. use Patreon not just as a one-way communication tool where you guys hear from me. Use Patreon to communicate with me. Like, write me a message on Patreon, because that's a great place for us to engage with each other. And I am totally open. Don't think, oh, John doesn't want to hear my ideas. Yes, I do. If you've got ideas or thoughts, I won't take every idea you have or every thought you have, but I want to hear them. So yeah, absolutely. Please use Patreon as a communications tool to communicate with me and to hear from me. That would be great. Ben Rayner, when is the next trailer for The Last Jedi coming? I don't have a clue, but I'm not suspecting until maybe end of September, beginning of October would be a good time. They already have one trailer out. The movie's still 4 months away, so we're fine. Let's see. Greg is saying, recap shows, John. I want to see your honesty. I may never agree with your subjectivity, but I come to you for honesty of your shows. Thank you. I appreciate that. Ben is also saying, bring on the honesty. Let's see. Shibaji is writing your thoughts on the Tick Season 1. I did a review on the Tick Season 1. Hop on the YouTube channel, look under reviews. I've got my review for the Tick Season 1. I liked it quite a bit, so you can go see my full review there. Jojo's asking, John, do you keep up with the Schmodown? Not really. I check in on it every once in a while because they're doing some really good things over there with Schmodown, but I don't really keep up with it too awful much just because I haven't had time, to be honest with you. Let's see. Stephen Raleigh is asking, are you a Scooby fan? Not generally speaking, no. I'm not anti-Scooby, but I'm not generally a Scooby fan. Greg is saying, daily shows. I agree with TV talk and movie talk is daily. I love daily heroes, but worry about content and time. I'm torn because I love me some Schnepp and I love some comic book talk. Yeah, a lot of us do. John, thoughts on John Roca? I've always had a weird vibe from him. John's a cool dude. I like John very much. I get along. There were some people who thought for a long time that I didn't like Roca or something like that, which was always very weird to me. They were like, I don't know. Just some people thought I didn't like Roca. John Roca and I get along great. We get along really well. I like Roca. He just became full-time staff there. I looked at the possibility of bringing him on full-time staff when I was there, but there was never the right time and it was never the right fit for different reasons. Now, how time and circumstances have changed over there, I'm not sure. I'm separated. I'll be honest with you. For the most part, I don't talk to a lot of the people over there. Like Dennis and I will chat. Dennis and I get together every couple of weeks. Christian and I will get together every couple of weeks. But for the most part, I have created a lot of separation between me and Collider. I don't talk to a lot of people over there. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes over there. So what fundamentally changed over there to now make it a good idea to bring John Roca on full-time staff? I don't know, but I'm sure they have good reasons. And yeah, I'm a fan of John Roca as a person. I think he's a really good guy. So that's my thoughts on John. But on camera, yeah, he comes across weird. I don't know why. He does come across weird on camera. And those are conversations that like Christian Harloff and Dennis and I would have about John Roca. It's like, he's such a great guy, but sometimes on camera, he comes across like, gives off a little bit of a weird vibe, which is weird. But believe me when I tell you, forget what you see on camera. Off camera, he's a really cool guy, like a really good, solid guy. I enjoy him very much. Let's see here. Exile saying, best episode of Supernatural, in my opinion, is Changing Channels. That episode was really, really cool. Very creative. Brian Misfit is writing again, reversing roles here. We constantly have high expectations from you. The question is, what are your expectations from us, the supporters? How can we help, and what can we do to help you? Well, I really appreciate, number one, the fact that you would even ask that question. That's amazing. Thank you so much that you'd even ask that question. How can you guys help me? The best way to help me is by becoming evangelists for the YouTube channel. And, you know, here's what you don't do. Don't start reposting every video I put up, because that will just turn your social media followers off. But like maybe once a week when there's a particular video that you think is really good, share it. Share it on your Twitter, share it on your Facebook. Always make sure you're liking and commenting on the videos. When it comes to the Patreon, if there's other people you know that are fans of my material, just suggest them something. Hey, you might want to consider becoming a Patreon supporter. But really, one of the best things you guys can do is like maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks, when there's a video out that you think is a particularly good video or a particularly interesting video, it would help me out a lot if the Patreon supporters, because now we've got almost 280 Patreon supporters now, which to me is mind-blowing. I literally thought, like Ann and I sat down and charted it out, I thought it would be 3 to 4 months before we would even get halfway to our first goal, which would be 200 supporters. I thought it would be 3 to 4 months before we got to 200 supporters, and here we are already almost 280. As of the beginning of us recording this video, there are 279 supporters. So it's unbelievable. But if we had 279 people reposting and sharing and talking about one video every 1 or 2 weeks, I think it would go a long way. So anyway, that would be great. But again, anything you guys can do is awesome. Thank you. Ian Schindler is writing, what are you expecting to be the more interesting show? Star Trek Discovery or Seth MacFarlane's The Orville? Look, I thought the idea of Seth MacFarlane's show sounded stupid, like it's a Galaxy Quest ripoff. But then I saw the trailer and I thought the trailer was hilarious. So I am far more interested in the new Seth MacFarlane show than I am in Star Trek Discovery. But who knows? Maybe we'll watch Star Trek Discovery and it'll blow our socks off. I mean, always open to that. Let's see here. If I'm being, okay, Mad Dog is writing, if I'm being honest, John, I only watched Movie Talk for you, Schnepp, Amy Rose, and the Schmoes. Well, that's a lot of the people. That's a lot of the people that, look, there are some great people over at Collider. And, I mean, they better be because I hired most of them, but there are some great people over there. And, yeah, I mean, if you're a fan of Collider, I would say hang in there with them. If you're not, like, look, there are certain sports shows I watch, and I love the show, but really I watch it for one particular guy. And then if that one particular guy goes, I generally stop watching the show. If you were one of these people that only watched Collider because I was on it, okay, that's fine. I'm not going to hold it against you if you stop watching Collider, but there are some really good people on Collider. And if you are a fan of the show, I really encourage you to keep watching them. Nothing says you can't watch, 18 different movie shows. If you can't, then you can't. That's fine too. But I'm a big fan of a lot of people over there. KW Garrett's writing, do you want more diversity in questions or do comic book questions get more traffic? Previously said 9 out of 10 questions are comic book. Well, yeah, look, the reality is here. When I open up the inbox of the John Campea podcast at gmail.com, I am not exaggerating when I say 9, maybe 8 to 9. 8 to 9 out of 10 questions are comic book movie questions. And look, I want to talk about whatever the people writing questions want to talk about. If tomorrow they start writing in 9 out of 10 questions about it, I'll take 3 or 4 questions about it. I'm into talking about whatever the people want to talk about. If the people want to talk about comic book, now I think you'll notice in every John Campea podcast episode, I mix it up. Have about half comic book questions, half non-comic book questions. I mix it up. And I'll never have it where it's all comic book questions. That's for heroes to do. But I won't do that. Like, I always mix it up. But, I have no problem of people wanting to ask questions they want to ask about. If they're curious about Doctor Strange, then write me a question about Doctor Strange. And we'll see. And it's not because they're comic book questions. It's because that's what they're interested in. So I like getting more diversity. Because here's the thing. Since 9 out of 10 questions are about comic books, and I only take half of the questions in a John Campea podcast about comic books, that means if you write me a question that isn't about comic book movies, you have a much better chance of getting your question on the show. So, yeah, I'm good. I'm good talking about whatever the people want to talk about. Ben Rayner, Austin Powers trilogy, one of the best trilogies? Nah, the third one isn't strong enough. Has some great moments, but not strong enough. Let's see. Mad Dog is saying, I was wondering what you would recommend for starting YouTube. I want to do it as a hobby for game and movie reviews. What kind of equipment should I look at and how would you handle the editing? Do me a favor, guys. One of you guys find my video that I did. I did a 2-hour video once a couple years ago on how to get started in YouTubing, blogging, and podcasting. It's a 2-hour video. I talk about all the stuff that you were just asking about. Can one of you guys find that video quick? Just search in YouTube for John Campea getting started and you'll find it. And share the link so that Mad Dog can find that. I hope you find it useful. I hope you find it helpful. Let's see here. Greg Scott Bailey, YouTube setup question. With audio, are you doing something with your mics to avoid a lot of background noise at my home? My house is horrible for audio. Yes, there are things you can do. Specifically, I get microphones. I make sure I buy microphones that have a very narrow field. In other words, they generally take the sound that's just right in front of them and reject sound that comes from the sides. So I'm very specific about that type of thing. The second thing I do is on the John Campea podcast that I pre-record, once I'm done recording the podcast, the very first thing I do, even before editing the video, is I process the audio. I take in the audio and I do background noise reduction on it just to fix that up. But a couple of things. You want to avoid room echo. You want to avoid all that stuff. Make sure you get a good microphone that has a narrow scope of field. Be close to your microphone. Like, you can see how close I am to my mic here. Be close to your microphone. If the primary sound source to your microphone is right in front of it, it has an easier time rejecting other sounds. And don't record your audio too hot. Don't record your audio at too high of a level, because if you bump up the levels too much, it's going to start picking up more and more room tone. So anyway, I'm not an audio expert, but that's the best advice I can give on that. Let's see here. Brian is saying, what about we set up a weekly poll on the Facebook channel and we choose a subject of interest. Then we do a dedicated show on the winning subject. I don't know about that, because I don't know if you're talking about a dedicated show, like one episode of the John Campea podcast. I don't know that I'd ever want to do an episode of the John Campea podcast on one subject. Like, one of the, I think anyway, the appealing things of the John Campea podcast is that we're covering 6, at minimum, we're covering 6 different topics. So even if there's one topic you're not very interested in, there's bound to be a couple of topics in there that you are interested in. I'm afraid if I did an entire episode of the John Campea podcast on one topic, that would turn a lot of people off. So if you're interested in like a one-shot video, like a 5-minute video, that's different. But a one-topic podcast, I think I want to avoid that. Let's see here. Okay, Styler Man Who Won is saying, on a recent podcast, you mentioned that the cost of tickets / food was adversely affecting the box office of mid-budget movies. I believe that the excellence of TV dramas on HBO Netflix is also implicated. No, I don't think so. I said that in my video. I really don't think the quality of television today affects it at all. Television and movies are two very different things. And look, I watch more TV now than I ever have before. But I also go to more movies now than I ever have before. And that's not because of work. I go to movies all the time just because I like going to the movies. If my Movie Pass card ever shows up, by the way, have any of the rest of you had this issue? I signed up for the $10 Movie Pass. It's been over a week and a half, almost 2 weeks. I still have not got my Movie Pass card. So I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I don't think HBO Netflix is implicating it, is hurting it at all. I really don't. They're two different things. So I really don't see how one is connected to the other. Just my opinion. Okay. Let's see. Going down to Exile. What's the funniest moment in the Austin Powers movies, other than the comment from Michael Caine about the Dutch? Probably Mini-Me talking to Beyonce when he says, "Are you sure you don't have a little clone in you?" And she says, "No." And he says, "Would you like to have a little clone in you?" And that was pretty funny too. I'd have to think about it. Noah Outlaw is saying, how often do you talk to Amy Rose? I miss hearing her on Movie Talk on YouTube. I honestly don't talk to Amy Rose nearly enough. Amy Rose, in Los Angeles geography, she lives pretty far away. She's all the way on the west side, so she's a million miles away. She's really busy. She's got her Radiant J production stuff going and stuff like that. Actually, I think Ann talks to her more than I do. I think Ann and her chat every once in a while. But I miss Amy Rose. I adore Amy Rose. So probably every couple of months I drop her a note and she drops me a note. But I just don't get the same opportunities to see her nearly as much as I would like. Shibaji is writing, if someone is visiting LA as a tourist for, let's say, 8 to 10 days, what all do you recommend the person should see? There's a lot to see and do in LA, man. Take some of the studio tours. Take the Universal Studio Tour. Take the Warner Brothers Studio Tour. Make sure you walk up and down the Walk of Fame. Go to Hollywood and Highland. Visit the Kodak Theater. Sorry, it's now called the Dolby Cinema. Go to the Dolby Theater where they hold the Oscars. Go sightseeing at the Hollywood sign. There's a million things to do in LA. Get out to the Santa Monica Pier. Lots of good things to do. Mad Dog saying, thanks for doing my Sophia Patella X23 question. You're welcome. Let's see. Okay. Stefan, I guess, has put up the link. Thank you so much, Stefan. Let's see. Stephen Rowley saying, as someone who is working for corporate overlords, good for you for being on your own. Yeah. I mean, that was really the main motivation. When my friend died, it really made me value it because I had been unhappy at Collider for a while, mostly because of decisions that were being made by corporate overlords. And, I got to say, I said this in my Patreon video, but it's absolutely true. As far as corporate overlords go, I've been very lucky because I've heard some people working for some nightmare corporate overlords. I have actually had some pretty darn good corporate overlords. Like AMC, until everything went to shit and we had the big falling out. And I still get along with many of the people at AMC very, very well. As a matter of fact, I just bumped into the CMO of AMC not too long ago. We had a really good chat, really good guy. I like him very much. AMC was a very good company to work for. I like a lot of things about Complex Media and the executives at Verizon that I had a chance to interact with and work with. I like them very much too. So yeah, man, seriously, as far as corporate overlords go, I got pretty lucky that I got to work with some pretty good corporate overlords, but it was still working for corporate overlords. And, when you're working for corporate overlords and you're a creative person, eventually the corporate overlords make some decisions and want to do things that you just aren't comfortable with and you don't like and you think are the wrong decisions. And eventually you just say to yourself, I got to get out of here. And I hit that point. And I think it took my friend dying for me to really realize it was time to go. And honestly, this is what I was meant to do, was to do my own YouTube channel, be independent. And I just have the freedom to be as honest as I want to be, to do what I want to do. And it's incredibly liberating and rewarding. So thank you very much. I appreciate that a lot. Let's see. Oh, this is, okay, going back to the MoviePass thing. The thoughtful author is writing, they sent out an email. They said people who signed up when they switch to the $10 MoviePass will get their card in mid-September. Well, I didn't get that email. Well, thank you for the update. I appreciate that. Now, I imagine it would take them a while. They did have 20,000 subscribers, and then overnight they had 150,000 subscribers. I imagine it would take them a while to create, print, process, and ship out 130,000 MasterCards. I guess it would. Okay, thanks a lot for the update, thoughtful author. Let's see here. Mad Dog is saying, international question. What was the process like moving to the U.S.? I want to move overseas, and I've been discussing England, Australia, and Canada. I cannot recommend Canada enough. Canada is the shit. I'm biased, obviously, because I'm Canadian, but Canada, seriously, is the greatest place in the world to live. The process for me moving to the U.S. was different because I only planned on coming here for a year. I just wanted to come down to the U.S. for a year because I was movie blogging. I thought I might as well be in LA for a bit and get closer to the industry and meet some people that I've been talking with online. And then I ended up meeting and marrying the love of my life. I ended up meeting Anne down here, and I did not plan on staying here for more than a year. I miss home very much, but I ended up meeting Anne. She's the love of my life. I couldn't imagine life without her. And so I decided to stay. We got married and I decided to stay. So I got in the easy way. I mean, I married an American, except that it wasn't a convenient marriage. I honestly fell in love with the girl, and I'm going to spend the rest of my life with her. But we've been married for almost 8 years now. So, yeah. Let's see. Greg Scott Bailey, do you ever catch yourself accidentally saying Jeremy Johns' catchphrase, comment below, let me know, during sign-off? I honestly didn't know that was one of Jeremy's catchphrases. I honestly didn't. So, no, I've never come close to saying, comment below, let me know. I've never come close to saying that. Let's see. Sorry, guys. This is the awkward part of live video that I'm trying to scroll and get caught up on the questions here. Okay. Lord Darkness is writing, do you think the fight this past weekend was well as the Game of Thrones finale contributed to the poor box office this weekend? The Game of Thrones finale had nothing to do with it. That wasn't until Sunday night. I mean, everybody still had Friday night, Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, Sunday afternoon. I mean, so that didn't contribute at all to it. Did the Mayweather-McGregor fight? Yeah, maybe a touch, but really not much. What contributed mostly to it was that there was no decent movies out. And the movies that are decent, that are in theaters, are in their second, third, or fourth week. So I think that had more to do with it than anything else. Tyler Eklund says, you have always said that Mystery Men is one of your most underrated movies. Is it too late for a sequel? Yeah. Yeah, it's far too late for a sequel, unfortunately. They'll never do a sequel to it, which is too bad. That movie, Mystery Men, was so far ahead of its time. It was spoofing on things before people even knew what to spoof on. It was so far ahead of its time. It was great. So, yes. Anyway. Let's see. Mad Dog is saying, I've been stuck in Texas. Talking a lot about, there's some conversation going on here about Noah and everything going on in Texas, which is just madness. Let's see. Ian Schindler's asking, rivalry in Schmodown. How much of it is for show and how much is for real? Most of it's for show. Most of it's for show, but you know that. What is real is the actual game. The game is real. And, you know, so many people were, oh, this was fixed and that was... No, the game is never fixed. Ever. And I try to make that point to somebody, say, look, if we were going to fix games, I would be 25-0 in Schmodown. But the games are never fixed. They're never fixed. Everything else is choreographed. Everything else is written. Yes, a lot of the rivalries are mostly all made up. So there's good friendly rivalry. Like, for instance, when we were going to do the Star Wars Schmodown at Star Wars Celebration, and I mean, yeah, I would have some good jarbing with Sam, but I love Sam Witwer. I think he's great. He's awesome. He's an awesome, awesome guy. Or me and Freddie Prinze. I love Freddie Prinze. He's like one of the best celebrity dudes I've ever met. And he and I still fire notes off back and forth on Twitter. I think he's great. But yeah, there was still friendly rivalry. Like, we wanted to win. But all that on-camera stuff and like, yeah, blah, 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 all that, that's all fake. That's all fake. When they sit down at the table and they start the game, it's totally 100% real. All right, guys, I'm going to need to start wrapping it up here. I got to get a few things done here to start getting ready for Star Wars Talk today, or Star Wars Talk Tuesday, sorry. Get that all set up and ready to go. I have so appreciated this time that we have spent together. Once again, guys, use Patreon to make it a two-way conversation. Communicate to me ideas and thoughts and things like that. Whatever I can do to make the experience better for our community, and for make it even more worthwhile being a Patreon supporter. I would really appreciate it. Anyway, that'll do it, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. More stuff to follow. Talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.